Solving radical equations. Our objectives. At the end of this presentation, you should be able to solve equations involving radical expressions. Let's start. What is radical equation? Radical equation is an equation that contains radical terms with variable in the radicand. To solve radical equations, the following property of equality is needed. Let x and y be real numbers and n a positive integer. If x is equal to y, then x raised to n equals to y raised to n. However, the given property is not always true for some cases. For example, 4 squared is equal to negative 4 squared is not true, but 4 is equal to negative 4 is not true. Thus, when raising both sides of an equation to an even power, it is a must to check the answer to the original equation. Remember, in solving radical equation, it is also possible to have some extra solution that will not satisfy the original equation. This is called the extraneous solution. Example, square root of 2x minus 3 minus 5 is equal to 0. In solving radical equation, the first step is to isolate the radical terms in one side of the equation and the terms which are not radical to the other side of the equation. Therefore, we need to move negative 5 to the other side of the equation using the addition property of equality. So we can rewrite this as square root of 2x minus 3 is equal to positive 5. Remember, as we move a number within the equal sign, the sign will be changed. After moving one term to the other side of the equation, the next step is to eliminate the radical sign. So to eliminate the radical sign, we will just simply square both sides of the equation. So we can rewrite this as the square root of 2x minus 3 squared is equal to 5 squared. Now let's simplify. As we square the radical sign will be cancelled out. So what left is 2x minus 3 equal to, the square root of 5 is 25. The next step is again to isolate the variables, in this case the variable x to one side of the equation and the constant term to the other side of the equation. Therefore, we need to move negative 3 to the other side of the equation by the use again of the APE, meaning the negative 3 will become positive 3. So we can write this as 2x equals 25. Then negative 3 will become positive 3. So let's simplify. So we got 2x equals 25 plus 3 is 28. Now we need to eliminate the numerical coefficient of x. So the numerical coefficient of x here is 2. So we can eliminate it by dividing both sides by the numerical coefficient, which is 2. So this will be cancelled out. So we divide 28 by 2, which gives us a quotient of 14. So x now is equal to 14. Now, let's check whether the given value of x satisfies our equation. So let's check it using the original equation, which is square root of 2x minus 3 minus 5 equal to 0. So the value of x that we have is actually 14. So let's substitute for x by 14. So we can write this as square root of 2 times 14 minus 3 minus 5 equal to 0. 2 times 14 is 28. So we can write this as square root of 28 minus 3 minus 5 equal to 0. Then let's subtract 28 by 3. So 28 minus 3 is 25 minus 5 equals to 0. Now let's get the square root of 25. So the square root of 25 is 5. Then subtract it by 5 equal to 0. So 5 minus 5 is 0. So we have 0 equals to 0. Now, since they become equal, therefore, it satisfies the equation. So we can conclude that x equals 14 is a solution. So we can conclude that the solution set is 14. Or you can write this as SS 14. Example number 2. Square root of 2x minus 4 minus x equals negative 2. So we need to isolate again one side of the equation with the radical terms, and the other sides are numbers or terms which are not radical. So in this case, I need to move negative x to the other side of my equation. So we can write this as square root of 2x minus 4 equal to, so negative x will become positive x, then just simply copy minus 2. The next step is again to eliminate the radical sign by squaring both sides. So we got 2x minus 4 squared is equal to x minus 2 squared. So we can now eliminate the radical. What left is 2x minus 4. So we got 2x minus 4 equals, now in this case we will be applying the square of binomial. So the rule is we will be square the first term. So the first term is x. So that is x times x. We got x squared. The second step is twice the product of the first and second term. So meaning we will be just multiplying the first and second term and then multiply it again by 2. So we got x times negative 2, that is negative 2x, times 2, that is negative 4x. Then square the last term. So the last term is negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 2, that is positive 4. The next step is I'll be moving these two terms to the other side of the equation, since the quadratic term is belong to this side, which is x squared. So again, as I move these terms to the other side of the equation, their sign will be changed. Meaning this side will become 0. So I just simply copy this, x squared minus 4x. Then positive 2x will become negative 2x plus 4. Negative 4 here will become positive 4 again. So let's simplify. So 0 equals x squared. So we get negative 4x minus 2x. Since they are similar and they are both negative, so I'll just simply add them and follow the sign, which is negative. So we got 4 plus 2, we got 6, and they are both negative. So I'll be writing this as negative 6x. And then 4 plus 4, we got 8. So the answer is actually trinomial. Okay? Quadratic trinomial, since the highest exponent is 2. Now, to simplify quadratic trinomial, we just need to factor out the first term and the last term. So we can write this as 0 equals the factor of x squared is only x by x. Now, how about the factors of 8? So we can write the factors of 8. So we got 1 times 8, negative 1 times negative 8, positive 2 times positive 4, and negative 2 times negative 4. So these are the factors of 8. Now, we must get the sum of each of the factor. So we will just simply add them. So 1 plus 8 is obviously positive 9. Negative 1 plus negative 8, that is negative 9. Positive 2 plus positive 4, that is positive 6. Negative 2 plus negative 4, that is negative 6. Now, what among the factor we will be using? So to identify which of the factors should we use, we will just simply look at the middle term. So the middle term is negative 6x. So the numerical coefficient of x is negative 6. So we will be just simply looking at on what sum of the factors of 8 has a sum of negative 6. So obviously, the factors of 8 with the sum of negative 6 is negative 2 and negative 4. So we'll be using negative 2 and negative 4 as the factor. After identifying, we can now proceed to the next step by equating both factors by 0. So we can write this as x minus 2 equals to 0, and the other one is x minus 4 equal to 0. So we need to move negative 2 to the other side of the equation because we only want to find is for the value of x. So as we move negative 2 to the other side of the equation, it will become positive. So we can now write as x equals positive 2. And for this part, x minus 4 equals to 0. So again, we will just simply move negative 4 to the other side of the equation. So that will become positive 4. So the two values of x that we have is x equals to 2 and x equals to 4. So let's have the checking. So we will be check it by the original equation, square root of 2x minus 4 minus x equals by negative 2. So the two values of x that we have is x equals to 2 and the other one is x equals to 4. So let's just simply substitute. So let's start with x equals to 2. So let's substitute all the values of x by 2. So we have 2 times 2 minus 4 minus 2 equals negative 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. So we got 4 minus 4 minus 2 equals negative 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. So that is square root of 0 minus 2 equals negative 2. Square root of 0 is 0. So 0 minus 2 equals negative 2. 0 minus 2 is negative 2 is equal to negative 2. Since they become equal, that means it satisfies the equation. Therefore, this is a solution. Now, let's identify whether x equals to 4 is also a part of a solution. So let's substitute. So we have square root of 2 times 4 minus 4 minus 4 equal by negative 2. So 2 times 4 is 8. So we got 8 minus 4 minus 4 equals negative 2. 8 minus 4 is 4. So we got square root of 4 minus 4 equals negative 2. Square root of 4 is 2. Then subtract it by 4 equals negative 2. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. So that is equal to negative 2. Now, since they become equal, therefore it satisfies the equation, we can now tell that x equal to 4 is also your solution. So the solution set now is 2 and 4, or you can write this as SS 2 and 4. Let's have the third example. Square root of 5x squared minus 16 equals to x. So since the radical term is already isolated to one side of the equation, we can now proceed to the next step by eliminating the radical sign to the radical terms by squaring both sides of the equation. So we can write this as square root of 5x squared minus 16 squared is equal to x squared. So the radical term will be eliminated. So what left is 5x squared minus 16. So we can write this as 5x squared minus 16 equal to x squared. Now I'll be moving x squared to the other side of my equation since 5x squared is greater than x squared. So I'll be moving it. So that will become 5x squared. Positive x squared will become negative x squared minus 16. Then equal by 0. So let's subtract 5x squared minus x squared. So this will become 4x squared minus 16 equal to 0. Now we need to isolate the variable x to one side of the equation. Therefore, we need to move negative 16 to the other side of the equation. So as we move negative 16 to the other side of the equation, it becomes positive. So we can write this as 4x squared equals positive 16. The next step is to eliminate the numerical coefficient of the x squared, which is 4. So by eliminating it, we will just simply divide both sides of the equation by 4. So what left is x squared equal by 16 divided by 4 is 4. However, the given is not yet simplified since x still has an exponent which is 2. So to eliminate the exponent 2, we will just simply get the square root of both sides of the equation. So we can write this as the square root of x squared equals to square root of 4. So the square root of x squared is actually x. And the square root of 4, since this is an equation, is positive and negative 2. So as we expand this, one value of x is 2 and the other value of x is negative 2. So now let's check. Square root of 5x squared minus 16 is equal to x. So the two values that we have is x equals to 2 and the other value is x equals negative 2. So let's substitute x by 2. So we can now write this as the square root of 5 times 2 squared minus 16 is equal to positive 2. So let's solve first 2 squared, that is 4. So we can write this as 5 times 4 minus 16 equals to 2. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 16 equals to 2. So 20 minus 16 is 4. So we got square root of 4 equals to 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So we got 2 equal by 2. Since they become equal, meaning it satisfies the equation. So x equals to 2 is a part of solution. Now, let's now look at x equals by negative 2. So let's substitute. So we have 5 times negative 2 squared minus 16 equal to negative 2. So simplify again. Negative 2 squared, that is positive 4. So we get 5 times 4 minus 16 equals to negative 2. So 5 times 4 is 20 minus 16 equals negative 2. 20 minus 16 is square root of 4 equals negative 2. Square root of 4 is 2. Is equal to negative 2. Now, 2 is not equal by negative 2. Therefore, this equation is what we call your extraneous roots or extraneous solution. Okay. So, remember that extraneous solution exists if there will be more than two solutions and one of them becomes solution and the other one becomes not a solution. That not solution is what we call your extraneous solution. Therefore, we can conclude that the solution set is only 2, or you can write this as solution set is 2. Let's move to the fourth example. Square root of 2x minus 5 equals to negative 1. So no need to eliminate or to isolate the radical terms in this given example since it is already isolated. So what we need to do is to eliminate the radical term or the radical symbol by squaring both sides of the equation. So we can write this as square root of 2x minus 5 squared equal to negative 1 squared. So we will just simply cancel out this, and what left is 2x minus 5 equals to negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Next step is just simply isolate negative 5 or move negative 5 to the other side of the equation so that one side of the equation will have the variables and the other side will have the constant term. So as we move negative 5 to the other side of the equation, that will become positive 5. So we can write this as 2x equals 1. So negative 5 will become positive 5. Then simplify. So we have 2x equals 1 plus 5 is 6. Next step is to eliminate the numerical coefficient of x, which is 2. So to eliminate it, we will just simply divide both sides of the numerical coefficient of x, which is 2. So let's divide both sides by 2. So x now is equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. Now let's check. So we got square root of 2x minus 5 equals negative 1. So the value that we got is x equals to 3. So we will just simply substitute the given by 3. So we have square root of 2 times 3 minus 5 equal by negative 1. 2 times 3 is 6. So we got 6 minus 5 equals negative 1. 6 minus 5 is 1. So we can write this as square root of 1 equals negative 1. Square root of 1 is 1. So we can write this as 1 equal by negative 1. Now, since 1 is not equal to negative 1, means it not satisfy the equation. Therefore, this equation has no solution. Or you can write it in the symbol as this one. Okay, the symbol means no solution. Now, let's move on the last example. Square root of x plus 1 minus square root of x plus 2 plus 1 equals to 0. So in this case, I'll be moving the negative radical to the other side of my equation. So I'll be moving negative square root of x plus 2 to the other side of my equation. So this will become square root of x plus 1, then plus 1 equal to square root of x plus 2. Next step is to eliminate the radical signs by squaring both sides. So we got square root of x plus 1 squared equals the square root of x plus 2 squared. The next step is to square both sides of the equation. So this is again a binomial, square of binomial. So let's square the first term. So we got x square root of x plus 1 times square root of x plus 1 is x plus 1. Then twice the product of the first term, which is square root of x plus 1, plus times 1 times 2, we got plus 2 square root of x plus 1. Then square the last term, so we got plus 1 equals by x plus 2. So let's simplify. So we got x plus, so we got 1 plus 1, that is 2, plus 2 square root of x plus 1 equal by x plus 2. Now we need to move these two terms to the other side of the equation. So this will become x minus x plus 2 minus 2 plus 2 square root of x plus 1. So this is equal by 0. So obviously this will be cancelled out. And what left is 2 square root of x plus 1. So equal by 0. So the next step is to eliminate 2 here by dividing both sides by 2. So this is already eliminated. What left is square root of x plus 1 equal by 0. So we need to move the radical sign. So to move the radical sign, we will just simply square both sides of the equation. So we got x plus 1 equals to 0. Now, let's move positive 1 to the other side of the equation so that what left in this side is the variable x. So we got x is equal to, as we move positive 1 to the other side of the equation, this will become negative 1. So the answer is x equals negative 1. Now let's check. Now let's check. So the value of x that we got is x equals to negative 1. So let's substitute negative 1 to the given value. So we have square root of negative 1 plus 1 minus square root of negative 1 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 0. So this is negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Square root of 0 minus. So this is negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1 plus 1 equal to 0. So square root of 0 is 0 minus square root of 1 is 1 plus 1 equal to 0. So obviously 0 minus 1 is negative 1 plus 1 equal to 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0 equal to 0. Now since they become equal, therefore this is a solution. So we can now write is that the solution set is 1, negative 1, or SS is negative 1. Thank you.